that's behind it, just turn that off, and then bring that screen back up. There you go. Okay. All right, back to business. So, Steve, thank you so much. We look forward to the financial freedom. It's 9 to 11 next week. Now, we are going to go into the 4 things, the 4 mores. What do we bring you more of with Business Over Coffee? Or the way I should say that is we give you tools to get more of these 4 things. Now, can someone tell me what they are?
Connections.
Collaboration. Okay, connections. Today you have connections in the room.
Exposure.
Collaboration. Rely Local is a great example of that. We'll be talking more about that. Exposure. How are you getting exposure?
Coming to these events and being a part of it, and doing the shares.
And the social media website.
Social media website. What else? Business cards. But what do we bring to the table for you? What do I do every Wednesday?
Oh, you have Blog Talk Radio.
Radio. Okay. Mia, you've been on the radio. In fact, I think everybody in here has been on except Gina. Gina needs to get scheduled.
I haven't worked on that.
That'd be great. Okay. All right, Gina. I know Kim's been on. Mark has not yet been on, and I want to have you on.
I've been on.
Everybody in here has been on except Carla. But Virginia has been on. But you guys could come back on again. So once a year, you call the office and you make the appointment. BOCTV is something. Did we get you scheduled on that?
We have not confirmed.
Okay. So, Beverly, we need to work on that as well. BOCTV. How many of you have been on BOCTV? 1, 2. 2? That's it? Okay. We have some scheduling to do. I tell you what, Beverly, why don't we have a sign-up sheet for BOCTV and/or radio with phone numbers so that we can call and make these appointments at a later date. Okay? All right, so those are social media exposure opportunities for you because you also get the link. All right? So how are you getting collaboration? We're giving you tools for collaboration. Who's using those tools?
I am to a certain extent.
Okay, how are you using those, Martin?
Well, just being able to get on the website, see who is on there, trying to introduce myself to them. Also coming to these events.
Right. Are you scheduling, is anyone scheduling coffee, Business Over Coffee events outside of this venue? Where you're meeting someone for coffee, to talk and get to know someone.
I have done several.
There you go. There's your collaboration effort. You meet here, that's your connection, all right? I can give you tools for collaboration, but if I give them to you and you don't use them, then they're not going to be effective, okay? So,
That's all in follow-up.
follow up. There you go, follow up. All right, tell us how, another way that we could follow up. Gina, this is a good time for you to pull your website up and give us a 60-second spill on a good follow-up plan outside of these meetings.
Yeah, let me do that first.
I'm going to get a pen that writes better.
So I'm Gina Davis. I'm with Send Out Cards, not e-cards, but green cards that are mailed for you. And often I'll ask my clients or potential clients, what do you do once you have the initial sale? What do you do to make sure you get that second, third, or fourth sale? So I'm asking them, what do you do to keep your customers? Well, this is where often they'll tell me, oh, I send an email, I go by and visit, I call them. Well, let's face it, guys, there's only so many phone calls, so many visits that you can do in a day's time. Right. And that's where Send Out Cards is really important because it helps you fill in those cracks of your follow-up system. It gives you a tool to increase the number of touch points that you may need to get the first sale or get the additional sales. So
There you go.
That's how I follow.
Okay, excellent. And how many of you in here have used send out cards?
I have.
Beverly, you're under Maury, right?
Okay.
Maury just walked in the back. And I do send out cards with Maury. And Gina offers some other services as well to work with people who are using send out cards.
Right.
So I know Maury invited Gina to come here. So that shows you a great effort to have collaboration. Because we are what? We're not exclusive, we are inclusive. So what does that mean? That means in order for two individuals, such as Scott and Steve, to work together, there has to be a way to collaborate. Now, Scott, tell us how you and Steve have worked together and about your business. And give us your website so we can pull it up.
It's just shoemakerfinancial.com. Well, me and Steve, we worked together for the first financial share, which is, it's fun. You get to know about other people's business, who they work with. You get to share who you work with. We do work with different people, and obviously our businesses do overlap in some areas, but coming together, we all realize that we do work in different areas. We target different people for the
Your
most
target
part.
markets. You define your target market. Your target market may not be the same.
Exactly. So, we kind of came together, allowed us to just share with everyone, about the right things to do for everything, whether it be with me or be with Steve. I don't care who you do it with. Just do the right things to make sure that your future is in line, basically.
Which is integrity, and that's one of our values that we hold here. And I will say, there's so many financial people out there that finding the right person is very difficult. It's kind of like banks on every corner or churches on every corner. But I will vouch for both of these individuals, Scott and Steve, that I would definitely use either one of them. They've been with us, they've been faithful, and they are out for your best interest, not for your money. We all need to make money. That's obvious. We all are in business to make money. But I believe that if it came down to making money or ripping you off, that they would not rip you off. Okay, so questions for Scott? Okay, all right, let's go to, we had send out cards. Okay, and then we have Maury in the room with send out cards. Maury, would you tell us also about your beneficial massage, both of these?
Well, I don't know about anyone in here, but y'all ever feel a little bit stressed, tired, ever have a headache? So beneficial massage, a beneficial massage is all about, my background is physical therapy. I did that for about 10 years before I got into massage therapy. So I'm more of a medical type massage therapist. People come to me for aches and pains, headaches, that kind of thing. So I relax you. If you want to come in and just get away from the world, you can do that as well. It's very relaxing.
What's your website again?
MauryWellborn.massagetherapy.com.
And you just had a grand opening not too long ago that I attended, so you have a new location. Very nice.
Right.
So where are you located?
We are at 5545 Murray Road, which is right at Hawthorne Gates.
Okay, so we have all of these people that have talked so far. Now we are going to invite, before we get to the next number 4, we're going to invite Paris to come up and be the Kids in Business focus today. Why don't you go get your things? Paris is my daughter. I call her Mini-Me. She's 8 years old, and she is very much an entrepreneur. She is a go-getter, so I believe she's going to make it very well in this business. Okay, you go right ahead. Come on over here.
Do the scramble.
Sure, we can do the scramble. What would you like people to do?
Just put out your business cards.
Turn toward everybody, and what would you like?
Please put out your business cards so we can have a scramble, and whoever wants to scramble gets a free muffin.
Okay, so we're having a scramble for a free muffin. All right, and the the bowl actually has muffin crumbs in it, so. Okay, and while we're collecting those business cards, Paris, tell us about your business.
My business is the Blue Lake Bakery. We changed the name because we moved. It was Blue Lake Bakery. The website is still under Blue Lake Bakery, but we'll change it.
Oh, the Blue Lake, sorry. I got confused.
Come on,
Okay.
get it together. Did y'all get a website up for this?
We do. What is your website, Paris?
It's not the Blue Lake Bakery. I can have to change it, but it's the Peabody Bakery.
And how does she get to it?
The PeabodyBakery.doodleclick.com.
Okay.
Was there a dot between bakery and doodle?
The PeabodyBakery.doodlekit.com. Let's try that.
Didn't like that.
It's not pulling that up. Okay, you can search her on Business Over Coffee under Paris, and that will take you there. Okay. Now, what is the phone number where people can reach you? Because you don't have business cards yet. She's got to make enough profit to get business cards. Okay, so you want to write it down? Okay. What is your tagline?
It's cookies for grown-ups.
You're going to have to speak louder.
It's cookies for grown-ups.
Yes. Turn around and tell us your tagline.
It's cookies for grown-ups.
Everybody say that. Kids cookies for grown-ups. All right. And what did you bake today for people?
Muffins.
Okay. And what is the cost for the person that doesn't get the free muffins?
25 cents for one, and for three is $1.
Speak up.
25 cents for one, and for three is $1.
$3, $4. Okay. All right. Or 25 cents a piece. Okay. And any questions for Paris?
What made you want to get into the business?
Competition.
That's good, Paris. Okay. All right. So, Paris, we need to do the scramble. Do we? Okay. Good deal. Okay. Now, mix it up. There you go. I see a purple card.
Caramel Johnson.
Okay. These are 25 cents a piece, so I tell you what, go ahead and give Delmar hers and then pass them around so everybody can sniff them so that you entice them to buy. I'm going to teach you. Okay. All right, so do you take orders, Paris? For Click and Connect, for people you can deliver at Click and Connect. Okay.
I have quarters and I buy for everyone. And I'm
You're
gonna
buying
tip
for
you real
everyone?
well.
Oh, but Delmar gets
Goodness. Did you hear that? Miss Beverly's going to buy them all. Okay. All right. Let's give Paris a hand clap. Now, you know, you have two of your children that were scheduled. One was unable to come because she broke a toe, and the other one couldn't come because there was an illness in the family. So I want to invite you. I think this is a great segment for people to bring their kids, and let's promote our children and their dreams. What do you think about that? Let's have this segment, each Click and Connect, kids in business. They'll be in school, but if they're not, especially in the summertime, we will have them. So please, feel free to bring your children and let them spotlight the business. I'll just need you to contact the office and let us know. All right? Now, let's go to number 4. What is number 4?
More business.
Business. So we have more connections, more collaboration, more exposure, more business. Okay, now somebody in here tell us who you've done business with in Business Over Coffee. Either you've gotten business through them or you have used them for
You and I.
You and I definitely. For sure. Tina.
I saw some of Beverly's jewelry here one day, and she had this piece that was actually a necklace. And I was oohing on over the necklace. I'm not much of a necklace wearer. I'm more of an earring wearer. And I was like, oh, I'd love to have that piece of the earring. So we made plans, and we sat down together, and we took a little crosshatch thing, and we sat there and we designed the whole earring, and then she made it for me. I'm sorry I didn't wear it today, but I didn't really go over my
Excellent. So that's a great testimonial. Now, Mia, I know that Marie Pisano is very interested in meeting with you. I've used your services. Can you give us a testimonial of the connections you've made, or the business, or any one of these words that jump out at you?
I would say collaboration. Tanita Odom and I, we've met a couple of times, and we're working on doing some ventures together. We use services together as well.
Excellent.
That's all.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your business. Tell us about what you do.
Reflexology helps to relieve stress, tension, and pain. It goes hand in hand with massage therapy, as Maureen has already talked about. And what it is, it's their reflex areas in your hand and feet, which are my focus areas that actually correspond to organs and glands of the body. It helps the body to balance systems out. So if you're having headaches, migraines, tight, tense muscles, and other health conditions, reflexology can help relieve that stress and tension and help with that pain issue.
And what is your website?
Abundant Life Wellness Solutions.com.
I'm sorry, I was in the middle of something. What was that again?
Abundant Life Wellness Solutions.com. Okay, Marty, you have actually done some business with AC.
Yes.
He's done business with you, which is
Yes.
one of our charitable organizations we work with, Express Missions International. Tell us about some collaboration efforts you've had, and also about travel leaders.
Well, AC and I didn't realize it. He has been a client of ours for a number of years. And what he does is he does these mission trips, goes over to Ethiopia and just different areas of the world, and goes in and rescues these children. And he does it within a very quick amount of time. And, you know, there's a lot of times that he doesn't know exactly when he's going. But we've got a corporate agent that takes care of him and gets his flights and gets him into these off-the-wall places that your normal traveler does not go. And he and I just by chance met with Business Over Coffee. And, you know, since he is nonprofit and everything, we believe in what he does and everything with, he's treated differently from a lot of clients because we're just, you know, we believe in what he's doing, and we want to be able to help him on our end. And so, Travel Leaders is a full-service travel agency, and I know most of you guys, so I'm not going to be very long with it, but we've been around for 26 years. We do all types of vacations. We do cruises, tours, groups, honeymoons, family vacations, as well as we've got 4 ladies that do nothing but corporate travel for us. And all of my ladies, I call them the dream team. They've been with my boss, we're woman-owned, for about 20 years. So anything that I can hand to them, I know my clients, you know, my people are taken care of. And we look at not so much of one-timers, but we like, you know, long-term customers, and we take care of you from the beginning all the way till the time you get back. So there's no question as far as any flukes that might happen or anything, because we're there from start to finish for you.
You're also the founder of the Wedding and Events Association of Memphis, which we're in collaboration with.
Yes. I created a nonprofit wedding association about 8 years ago. And there's about 30 different types of wedding vendors that I work with. We just had a seminar this last Tuesday night. We never charge brides and their families to come, but we don't sell our services at these seminars. What we do is we give them knowledge on how to things to look for when you're looking for a DJ or a florist, things to ask, because all of us have been in the business for so many years. We've seen a lot of these uh-ohs. So we're trying to keep them from having to go through any of that. And we're the only association or anything that offers that within the Shelby County area for wives.
Okay, and you've also, and I'll have Kim cover this, but you've worked with Kim
Yes, I
on
have.
Hawaii Local.
She's been great.
Okay, yes, she is. Okay, now, let's go to Delmar Johnson. Delmar, would you tell us, out of these 4 words, which word pops out at you that you have received benefits from and that you capitalized on?
I would say exposure.
And how have you gone after that particular tool?
Well, I had exposure on the Blog Talk Radio. I actually hadn't been on the TV, which I just thought about that.
Yes.
What happened there? But anyway, that's on me. That's on me. It is. Exposures from being here, and then I had not necessarily done business with anybody here yet. See, but my services are very unique in the fact that a lot of times businesses have to be at a certain point in their business to really get the benefits of my HR services.
Right.
So I understand that. So sometimes it's a longer term process with when you're doing HR services for a small to mid-sized business.
Right.
So it takes a certain point of view, but it still allows me to still connect and get my name out there and say, hey, when you're at that point, don't forget about me. I hadn't forgot about you. So that's where the continued exposure comes from. So as long as that bug continues in your ear, you know, I will be at the top of mind when you hear somebody that's in the position that needs my service. Like, you know what, you can benefit from talking to Delmar, because you're at a point where you need to have that in place. You have employees now. You know, you're trying to get interns in. You don't know what you're doing about developing an internship program and stuff like that. So the continued exposure allows me to stay at the top of someone's mind.
Exactly. And you did speak From the Ground Up regarding HR Brain for Hire. You received a link on that. You have worked with us on our internship program and received collaboration. You've actually gotten a lot of exposure through the college because of that connection. So I see a lot of collaboration efforts that have worked with you, as well as exposure and connections. I see those top 3 there have definitely been good for you. Okay, and let's go now to Beverly. Beverly is with our Professional Boost program. Tell us what you do, Beverly, about the Professional Boost program, and show us some of your work.
Okay. I'm very blessed to be a member of the Professional Boost program. They are grooming me for success. I'm able to display at every event, every Thursday, my jewelry that I design. And I love to custom design pieces for special requests, and also redesign people's heirloom jewelry pieces.
Okay, so tell us where your jewelry is now.
My jewelry is displayed at the booksellers here in Memphis. It's a bookstore and gift shop, and it has a bistro in it. And they were very impressed and just liked my pieces. And we're very happy to.
You have pieces going as high as $300 in booksellers. So your pieces are displayed over there. People can go by and look. They are very high-end with an inexpensive price tag. So you have things as low as $20, I believe, and up.
Yes, I do. Okay. And I'm making clay components to use for necklaces and earrings and different pieces, which are really exciting. And also wire wrapping with sterling silver. And those are just, they make gorgeous pins.
Yes. So anyone in here with a wife or a girlfriend or sister, mother, do you make men's? Anything for men?
I'm thinking about tight clasps.
Okay, good deal. All right, so heirloom pieces also, you love to feature those. And we have Marie Pisano, who is with MVP3 and has a lot of exposure in Memphis that's wanting to display Beverly's jewelry as she has her show.
Wow.
Also, Marva Ballard, the designer, has asked to use your jewelry with her models, and Carolyn Bendel is going to feature you in October in the commercial appeal. So, we are so proud of you. Okay, so out of these words, which one have you received the most benefit from?
I love the collaboration. Exposure is really great, but I love the collaboration, and I love networking and helping other people get where they're going.
I like that spirit. That's great. Okay, Gina, I don't think you gave us the word that.
You know, I was looking at that, trying to decide. You know, I'm still fairly new to business over coffee, so I'm definitely in the connection and collaboration areas and working on exposure.
Okay. All right.
And as for one of them, I love collaboration.
Okay, good deal. All right, so Steve, tell us which one jumps out at you.
Well, you know, I have to say collaboration since I'm the team leader.
The team leader. Exactly.
But no, I have conducted some business with other members, but the biggest portion has been the connections and collaboration and exposure, which leads to the business for me. Because for Scott and I, you know, dealing with people's finances and money, it's all about trust.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
So that constant exposure and just the ability to talk with folks to build that relationship and that trust factor, that's where it comes from.
Yes.
In my opinion, for both of us.
Yes, I agree with that. And one of the things, I think it was Stephen, I forget his last name, but one of our financial guys, Stephen Lowry. I want to say Lawler. That's not Lawler. So anyway, he said when Kelly Price was here last week, as far as I know, he's coming today. He has had a situation with his uncle going in the hospital, so hopefully he'll be here. But anyway, he was here last month, and he comes in every month and does a chat with Kelly. And Stephen said just to have those type of connections, connections like Mark Olivito, which you're going to be learning more about, I mean, that is phenomenal. And then once that connection's made, then as a member, these are the things that we give you tools for. But those are things that you've got to pursue. You've got to run after yourself as a business leader. Now, let's go to Maury. Maury, which one of these words jump out at you?
Probably connections. I've met a lot of people, and I think believe with connections comes collaboration in itself.
Yeah.
And with those, eventually down the road, the more you get to know people, the more you trust them.
Right.
So your business comes your way and their way.
Okay, that's right. Okay, Scott, which one of these words most relate to you?
I would say collaboration. I mean, me and Beverly have kind of gotten together, and I'm helping her, you know, I guess stay focused on her business and everything. And, you know, just meeting with her, it helps me remember to stay focused on my business. And, you know,
So you've really become like a mentor.
Right, I guess.
That's great. You might even work yourself into a position there. BSCI mentor.
He's my unpaid collaboration.
Yeah.
Accountability.
That's great. I told you already last earlier.
Accountability partner.
Everybody loves Scott. Yeah, I have. No, I'm not embarrassed you. I was going to say you have a baby face. Has anybody ever told you that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure. So anyway, but Scott is a very likable person, and but that speaks highly of you. That you would take time with Beverly to help her build her business, and that.
Well, I think I have to comment on this mentoring thing. You know, it's actually a really good idea because it helps you, like you said, refocus back on your business and get back to, okay, what are the things that I'm working on for my business? Of course, you know, you don't only have to work in your business, you have to work on your business, and sometimes you get in the grind and you forget to work on your business.
Excellent. Very well said. Carla, tell us out of these words, I know you haven't been able to come to a lot of these. Now, I know collaboration definitely because we're in collaboration with RBC, Ridgeway Business Center. But tell us one of these words that jumps out at you that you have seen through Business Over Coffee, in addition to telling us what you do.
My name is Carla, and I work here at Ridgeway Business Center, and we are an executive suites, and we rent out these offices, and we have virtual packages. I would have to say business, just because that, just working with Sherry and coming to the events that I come to, it does help me refocus on the business side of what we're doing, the services that we offer, and you know, and even it's brought business up here for us that people come in and rented our different spaces and have taken a look at what we offer. So I think the whole refocusing and making sure that you're on the correct path, that's why I would pick business, because that is important.
Yes, and a lot of people probably don't know that we meet weekly along with Virginia up here, who is the manager, and we focus on social media consulting. And I sit down with Ridgeway Business Center and we work on the tiny baby steps it takes to get you where you need to go. And so that is a service that we offer, and you have found that to be an effective service?
Absolutely. Because one, it keeps you on task when you're working with others, collaborating, connecting, exposing. But all of that really does help you refocus on what you need to be doing.
The bottom line.
Sometimes when you have someone you know you're going to meet with, you're like, oh, I got to get this done.
Yes.
So it is helpful in that way too.
Yes, and another thing is BOCI members receive what from RBC?
A 10% discount when you rent our suites. I'm sorry, when you rent our conference room spaces, and we do have 4 different conference room spaces that are available.
And or the virtual, if they do any of the virtual the packages. And those are excellent. They start as low as $60
Yes.
a month. Okay.
$60 for the business address, which will help you have a great place to put your name and your business address on your business card. So when you hand it out and they Google you, you're actually in a location and not in the middle of your subdivision. So that's a great way to start.
And it goes up to, I think, around 200, but that includes all types of staff and everything.
Yes.
So, excellent. Thank you, Carla. Okay, so we have covered the room. Did I miss anybody? No, I did not. Excuse me. So I would, first of all, like to say that it looks like, and this is why I saved this for last, we need to talk about how to get more business. We've got connections, collaboration, we've got exposure, and now business is where Mark Oliveto comes in to tell us he's been on both sides of the coin. He's been small business, he's been in large business. So he's going to tell us how to do business with the big boys, how to get your foot in the door, those type of things. This is something that we have implemented with Click and Connect over the last couple of months, is having a speaker come in to educate us on various aspects. After he's finished, we're going to introduce his wife, and she's going to show us some things locally we can do to get exposure and gain more business. So let me tell you a little about Mark, which I don't think I've done him justice. I have his bio here, and it is quite extensive. He is the Chief Marketing Officer, the CMO of Memphis-based Monogram Foods, and Incorporated, 5,000 fastest growing company. Did I say that correct?
Inc. 5,000.
There you go. Inc. 5,000 fastest growing company for the past 4 consecutive years. His responsibilities include oversight of Monogram's brand, strategy, innovation, product management, overall communication, and business performance. Mark joined Monogram after extensive experience in the consumer packaged goods industry, including Director of Trade Marketing and Demand Management at Sara Lee Corporation. Love that food. Sales and Category Management with Kraft Foods, and most recently as a Director of Business Development for Catalina Marketing. In short, Mark is a, quote, Sales and Marketing Performance Manager Mutt. He is a member of the board of directors at the Down Syndrome Association of Memphis and serves on the strategic advisory boards for Taste Drive America LLC and Brand Mixer LLC. Mark holds a Bachelor of Science degree in business with a dual concentration in marketing and management from Northeastern University. Factoid. Mark has been recognized by Social Media Marketing Magazine as one of the top 100 CMOs on Twitter. Is that amazing?
Oh.
You never know who you're sitting among. Put your hands together for Mark. I'll let you say.
Thank you, Sherry.
You're very welcome.
All right. Well, I am excited to be here. Congratulations, Sherry. You're building something special here. I really think that. It was great to hear Scott and Steve talk about competitors, I guess, really, right? And how you collaborate. I mean, I think that's fantastic. And Beverly, I loved, first off, thank you for the muffin. They were fantastic, Paris. What is your brother's name?
Preston.
Preston. When you go home tonight, do me a favor. Ask Preston, you 25 cents for a muffin? See if Preston thinks you can get 50 cents. I think you can get 50 cents. You can double the price for your muffins. I still sell plenty of them.
They can be your marketing manager.
They were fantastic. They were great. I love, Beverly, what you said about, did you say accountability partner?
Yes, he
Scott,
is.
I think that's fantastic.
He volunteered to do that for me.
That is great. Sherry, do you mind if I kill the lights here?
Yeah, go
Hello.
ahead.
Whoop, that's a little too dark. Here, I'm going to try and buzz through the slides here. A little bit about my background, and then we'll get into some things I think might have some application for your worlds. My background is, first, I guess, I graduated Northeastern in '97, which is it's a co-op program, which means you got to go to school for 6 months, then you quit school, you go to work for 6 months, you go back to work and back to school. Kind of a grueling program. You do that for 5 years, no summers off, so it's not really a party school. But I worked with Kraft Foods while in school, and I graduated and then they gave me keys to a company car. So I did sales and marketing for Kraft Foods. Then I left Kraft to go to Sara Lee. I would recommend big company experience to practically anybody. It's got a lot of pluses and minuses. This is hard to see. I don't know if you can see. This is what I call an 800-pound gorilla. 800-pound gorillas are great. They do whatever they want in the jungle. The problem is they're kind of slow. So at some point in my life, I got a little antsy and wanted to kind of go out there and be a little bit more entrepreneurial, which everybody in this room can really relate to. From Sara Lee, I went to a company called Catalina Marketing. You probably never heard of Catalina, but if you shop at Kroger, which practically everyone does, you have a Kroger shopping cart. They really know everything about what you bought over the past 3 years. They know what you haven't bought. And a company like Catalina takes that information and figures out how to convert you to their brand. So it is a service. I was in sales. I knocked on doors. I probably knocked on 50 different doors over the course of 2.5 years. It was a company that a lot of people don't know of. That's one challenge. Number two, not only did they not know, kind of like what you were saying, Bill, where you had to kind of be top of mind, so you had to invest in them over time. That was one challenge. The other challenge was price. If you were to compare that, what they deliver is a coupon when you're at the register. So you might have bought Coke today, and you might get handed a coupon for Pepsi. They know that you're buying soda today. That's kind of relevant to Pepsi. Problem with that is, from a Catalina marketing standpoint, it was about 25 times more expensive than the next nearest coupon that you can buy. So it's a very premium priced product. So that was one challenge at Catalina. I won't spend a lot of time bragging about my company, but Monogram Foods is a Memphis-based company. We are on the Inc. 5000 for 4 years in a row in terms of fastest growing company. So I started in 2006. We were a relatively small $5 million company. Today we're about $200 million, and we'll be at $500 million. Can't tell you when, but we'll be there. It's not a question of if. It's really a question of when. Will it be 3 years, 4 years? That's better be growing than not growing. I would tell you that. But that kind of growth, 6 to 200 million, you break a lot of things in the process, and I've seen us break a few things. So, yep, thanks. Here, we'll get into what I like to do is start off a little bit about what I call the environment from my perspective. The first thing I tell everybody, it's not just business, but selling in general. I mean, it's tough. I mean, when you look at some of the things, I try to think about what is the environment that we're all dealing with here. You know, things are moving fast. I mean, real fast. I mean, that's one thing. I think we all know that. I call it the race to the bottom. The competition and what people are charging, you can't be cheap enough on your product. I mean, so there's no reason why I said, Paris, you should charge 50 cents for your muffins and not 25. Because there's always going to be someone that can be cheaper than you. I mean, that's a given. I mean, look at Walmart, look at the biggest companies in the world. Competition, we talked about that. In my world, and I've been accused of being a little bit of a kind of a time Gestapo, but time is one of the most valuable currencies we all have. I don't know if everyone agrees with that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I am in a race against time every day, and I try and value my time, trying to figure out, am I getting the most for it? It's tough. I love the accountability partner concept. Part of what I'm going to talk about is half of the battle in sales is not your competition, it's not your product,
It's yourself.
it's yourself. I mean, I'm glad you guys agree with it. I mean, that's why what you're building your share ethic is something special, because you all have a common goal, you're coming together, you're talking about this stuff. Half the battle is dealing with yourself and staying motivated. No doubt, and I see this with my wife, she's going to talk about her business. Rejection and getting the door slammed in your face, it's tough, any way you look at it. So, I mean, and I deal with it. You know, I probably heard no 90% of the time when I was selling coupons to consumer product goods companies. If you don't have a strategy to deal with that, that's a pretty good way to depression, pretty fast route to depression. So here's my selling principles. These are the big points, and we'll talk a little bit about some specifics. And I'll give you some tips that would work for me. But you know, this is concept. This is selling 101. People are going to buy from people they like. End of story. If they don't like you, that's just a given. No new news there. This is hard to read. 80-20 rule. Is everyone familiar with the 80-20 rule? 80-20 rule is 80% of your business comes from 20% of the people. 80% of your productivity comes from 20% of your time. The key is, how do you identify that 20% that gives you the lion's share of the productivity? I've seen that happen. You need a strategy. I've seen this rule apply to practically everything. Employees in a company. 80% of the productivity and the output is coming from 20% of the people. Now, you can't go fire the remaining 80%. I mean, it takes the whole mix, but this rule applies to employee productivity, it applies to sales, it applies to a lot of stuff. If you don't have a strategy to recognize that and deal with it, you should. So I'll talk a little bit about how I dealt with it.
Knowledge enough about your customers more important. Knowing about your customers more important than product.
Thank you. I have seen people get consumed in the sales world with product and not customers, and homework against it. So why don't we go to the next slide if we can, Regina? I'm going to use these handouts. So we talked a little bit about this, that trust comes from first liking. Here's the point, as it looks at time. You can't like somebody. You know this from your relationships. You're not going to build trust unless you like the person, and you typically don't build trust. It occurs over time. I think your point about multiple connections is a good one. I mean, it's going to take time. Sales is an investment business. I mean, there's no doubt. You're not going to build a relationship, sit down with somebody, and close a deal or a transaction, whatever your business is, on the first time. I haven't seen that happen. Maybe in low involvement consumer products. We sell beef jerky. I don't have to sit down and sell somebody on that. They're going to see it on the shelf, and they're both buy it, and they're going to buy it. But if you're selling services and you're a small business, that's got to happen over time. But you do need a strategy on how to do it, or you're going to spend a ton of time trying to figure out how to spin your wheels. So, you go to the next slide here. What's the value of a door? So, a door is kind of a euphemism for a customer or a potential customer. Some things to think about. Number one, we talked a little bit about rejection. You got to get used to the door. You got to knock on a lot of them, and you got to be prepared for the door to be slammed in your face. When I say prepared, it's the mental aspect. It's a mental game dealing with rejection and figuring out how to cope with it. So you got to really think through that, because you're going to get a lot of it. Hopefully, the good ones get less of it, but they probably get more doors slammed in their face than doors opened up. That's my experience, depending on the product. This stuff in terms of doors and how you're going to build your business really comes down to how many doors should you be knocking on. Are you knocking on enough? I've seen a lot of people knock on too many, and they don't focus on that 80-20 rule. Well, you might not have to. Maybe knocking on doors and trying to develop new business isn't the right strategy. If you have existing business, take care of the shop. I've seen a lot of companies and a lot of businesses and a lot of salespeople spend 60% of their time trying to bring in new business, and they're ignoring the people that brought them to the dance. So what you got is a leaky bucket. You might be successful bringing on new business, $100,000 a year, whatever your numbers are. Meanwhile, you're losing 30% a year. So cheaper. Yeah, it's cheaper. I think that's a great point. It is. Anybody will tell you it's cheaper to keep your current customers than to go out and get new ones. I mean, like 3 times cheaper or a third cheaper to get the new ones. All right.
Well, unless you're in like the economic times we're in, right?
Exactly. You know, the times we're in, you know, you can make an argument, I guess, on both points. It's tough, depending on your business, I guess, is one thing, right?
I think it's more of a balance thing. You gotta have the new people coming in versus keeping the old people too.
Right.
Yeah, you do.
I think you do need a healthy mix.
Yes.
You need a healthy mix. I think where it gets out of balance when you spend all your time trying to get new business and you ignore. Now, some businesses are startup. If you're in HR services and you have no revenue, guess what you got to do? You got to go get new business. You know, there's a great saying that I think applies, which is nothing happens until first a sale. You don't have a business until you get clients, until you get customers. And every business is different. By the way, I love your website. I'm looking over your shoulder. The 30-day challenge, and you had another comment in there about a handwritten note. You know, Sherry, if I were to answer your question, I think I connected through you on Facebook. I couldn't find your website, which is why I'm bringing up the point.
Right.
Somehow I was going too quick, moving too fast, like I usually do.
Yeah.
Couldn't find it, but you have a pretty nice website there on some good taglines. All right, so here's an analytical approach to what I call sales. It is a numbers game. Any which way you cut it. When I talk about the 80-20 rule, you have to have a plan that breaks down how are you going to generate revenue. You'd be amazed at how many people don't analytically break down the market. So this is hard to read, so I'm going to kind of walk you through it. If you're a financial planner, if you're selling business services, you've got some type of available market, and this number is 75. What this is, it's a model that I used at Catalina Marketing. So a coupon marketing services salesperson at a company like Catalina, a successful one will sell $250,000 in a year. They'll pay for their salary and then some, make a little bit of money. And this is to their new businesses. The people that have never heard of this company before. I was lucky or I had a method that was a little different. I did about 1.1 million in year one. So what I'm sharing with you here is kind of my conversion rates, my metrics that allowed me to do it. And in roughly, this is about an 18-month time period, I had a market that I talked to through various means, cold calling, emails, trade shows. It was about 75. Then the world started to whittle down, and I started to bring some of those into what I call my pipeline. It's about 25%. So the 75 people here turned into about 18 people. And what I call 18 people, those are kind of qualified prospects. So you start with 75, you bring down to 18 where I can have a good physical business conversation with. Not all of them buy, but what I found is in my business, if I can sit down and I do the right homework, we're going to talk about homework in a little bit, I'm going to convert a lot of them. Now my number was about 65%. So the 75 I started with gave me presentations to about 18 people, which turned into about 12 clients. So 75, 18, 12. Now, what's the value of a client? And you should look at that over the course of time. The client is not what they can give you today, but it's over time. Now, you don't want to go 5 years out. I wouldn't recommend it. These are tough economic times, but over the course of a year, to me, that's good. In my world of Catalina Marketing, when I was selling, my average contract value was about $100,000. So some people spent $50,000, some people spent a couple hundred. Right in the middle was about $100,000. So now you've got to go into what is your investment to get those with your formula, whatever your formula is. My first takeaway for you guys is figure out what your formula looks like. Then you got to figure out what it costs you against all that activity. So what this is my investment, not just money, but really time. So we talked about time and how critical it is. I had to prepare for each meeting. So I started with 75. I came into, let's say, 12 meetings for 12 clients I would buy. Well, each one, it didn't happen when I sat down with them one time. On average, I had to sit with people about 3.7 times. So some were 6, some were hard, some I got, maybe one person I got with one meeting. But in general, it was about 4 meetings. Here's the kicker. You just don't wake up in the morning, go to a meeting, and have a sales conversation. Each meeting took me about 14 hours of preparation time. So we're going to talk about what that is. So you start doing the math here. That's why I say you got to break it down. 14 hours of preparation time against 12 clients, against 3.7 meetings per client. You're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of hours here. Now, unfortunately, I didn't sell All the people I sat down with, not all of them were successful, but I still invested time in those. Like, in fact, I might have invested more time because they were harder to get in the door with, so I might spend 20 hours preparing for those calls. Here's the bottom line. If you look at this bottom line, you can't read it. My investment in time to get $1 million in sales, this was interesting. When I broke it down and when I looked at it, and I've done this every year, it took me 762 hours to generate $1 million of selling activity. Well, if you do the math and you break that down, what does that mean per week? And really per day? Guess what? I was only selling, really selling, physically sitting down and working this client base to generate $1 million, 3 hours a day.
So is that supposed to be when you were actually meeting with them, or that
It was all the preparation. It was the physical meetings, those 3.7 meetings. It was the time to go to those meetings that didn't result in a sale. All that work, all that focus, and 3 hours a day, I was selling. I've never seen, because I manage a sales force here, and people, I call them whiners. They whine about they should be out selling. Well, they're doing administrative tasks and doing all that. The best ones I've seen really only spend, I don't know if it's 3, but it's less than 50% of their time is spent actually in the selling process. So the good news is you've got exposable time. So what I say is, if I can figure out how to get to 75, my available market, to 100, I'm going to have more sales. Or if I can get my closing rate from 65% to 70% by getting better leads into the mix. The point is, there's time to invest against the right activity, either increase your pool of audience through social media, doing things like you do. This is probably, I would venture to guess, could be your best 2 hours that you spend all week, or be right up there if you were ranking. The point is, what's the formula for your business? How does it break down? How do you change the levers to maximize the use of your time? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I can email this if it would help.
Oh, that would be great.
Please. All right, so we can flip through. That's the selling equation. I would consider how you start with the rule of the 75 star point. I call that marketing. Who's the broad audience you're talking to try and get them interested in your business? So marketing, it's basically, you can get 20 different definitions. It's not complicated. It's what are people's expectations for dealing with you and your business? What are they expecting? And when we talk about brand value, are they going to refer you to a friend? Are they going to give you a premium? Are they going to give you some type of value for the brand value that you have? That's basically marketing. What's it doing? It's giving you that bigger pool of buyers. So if I market effectively and I talk to 100 people versus 75, that's effective marketing. That should have a benefit on my bottom line revenue if I can close it correctly. You're also going to get better marketing, more qualified buyers. It doesn't help to talk to the entire world if they're not even in your market. Now, most marketing today, this is why social media is so impactful. Because number one, it's your investment is not money, it's time. But you're talking to people that care. If somebody goes on a Facebook and likes your page, they are opting in to have a conversation with you. And what you choose to do with them is your choice. But you're not talking via radio and wasting 99.3% of your spend. You're talking to a very defined group of people. That's what marketing is all about. All right, so we can flip the next page here. Here's an important point. When we talk about marketing in your business, and you do a great job on your website, your SherryHenley.com. I mean, it's authentic. It's you. It really portrays nicely. Your personal brand is as important as your business brand. We talk about like, leads to trust. Your personal brand, it's got to be authentic. One thing I don't like about social media and all this kind of hysteria over it's a wave. It ain't going away. It's not going away. However, when the word personal brand, in my mind, has a little bit of a negative connotation. Because it starts, in my mind, I start to think about, are people trying to be something they're not? Why I like your page is it's who you are. It talks about your life. I like to think that I have an authentic brand. What you see is what you get. I'm not one way at home as I am in the office or in business. What you see is what you get. When you look at brands, and you read about brands, authenticity is always one of the things they talk about. You know what you get. Okay. Here, I'll give you a couple of things. Twitter, is anyone on Twitter here?
Yes.
We can't get it down to that few of characters.
That's when I work in, I gotta give my wife credit for getting me on Twitter. She gets me on all the technology forward stuff. But one of the things, when I started July 1 of last year on Twitter. Getting something in 140 characters is not easy. No. Just from a communication standpoint, communicating effectively in 140 characters is
gotta be good.
It's tough.
You have to know how to abbreviate.
It's tough. Now, nice thing of Twitter, the nice guys that they are and gals, they give you 160 characters on your personal bio. So here's if I were to talk about my business world, here's what it is. You got to define yourself, or either you're going to be defined by it. But I'm a CMO for a high growth company. Hashtag CBG, hashtag optimism, hustle, and edge. So those are words that people are going to type in CPG, which is consumer packaged goods. They're probably going to find me. Optimism, I believe in. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Hustle, I believe in. I mean, if you ever have a session on work-life balance, I am the last guy you want to come and present on that, because it's not me. It's just,
But Twitter would be you, right?
Twitter could maybe, but I'm not an expert on Twitter. But work-life balance, I'm putting in, my wife will tell you, I'm putting in a 70-hour week. I am there at 5:30. I'm on the treadmill at 4. Work-life balance is the furthest thing for me. But I make no bones about it. I have found that hustle, if you show up early when people are sleeping and I'm working, guess what? It gives me an edge, which, oh, by the way, happens to be in my profile. Game changer in life. I believe that there are things, whether it's social media, connecting with people like you guys are doing here, there are things in life that people just don't do that are going to change their life. So I believe in studying them and trying to participate. Anyway, that's my personal profile. What I would encourage is everyone to kind of figure out what theirs is. If you're going to build a brand in social media, just be authentic. Be true to yourself on that. Jersey boy living in Memphis. I always say, we've been in Memphis for, what is it, Kevin, 6.5 or 6 years?
7 years.
Almost 7 years. So I always say, an Italian from New Jersey living down south is like an endangered species. I mean, okay. So let's talk a little bit about selling and some of the things I've seen and not seen. This is basics, but preparing to win. It's homework. I can't tell you the number of people that call me. I probably get 4 or 5 cold calls a day. And it is so obvious that they don't even go on our website and see what we're about. They don't Google us. I mean, if you don't do these things, don't even bother. If you don't have the time, I told you I prepared 14 hours for a meeting. It wasn't just doing this stuff. I was hunting. I was hunting for vendors, customers. What do you say about this person or this business? I'm going to call them. LinkedIn. Does anyone use LinkedIn? 6 degrees of separation. Anyone hear about that? You might not know who you're trying to call on in a company, but you probably have someone in your network that can consistently build it, that can get you in the door or has heard something about it. It might not bear fruit in terms of helping you for a meeting, but you better be trying it, because there's going to be someone that can open a door or help you get some information that's going to be helpful. Twitter. So I give you my personal profile. Someone's calling on me. It's amazing. If they're not on Twitter and they don't have my 160 characters and they're trying to communicate with me in a totally different, non-hustle type of way and valuing my time, they're not even in the game. If they're going to try and be long-winded, yeah, this is me. I can't make apologies for myself. But if they're not going to do that basic amount of homework, they're not going to have a chance of even getting in the door. Now, what I do is I'll lecture them. I'll tell you about some horror stories. I had people send myself, our president, and our CEO the same exact email, and the only thing they do is they cut and paste the name and they switch it from Mark to Wes to Carl. Within 30 seconds, Wes and Carl shot me the same exact email and said, hey, you want to follow up on this? So now I've got 3 of the exact, so I followed up on it, you can guarantee that. And I gave them a nice little lecture on how you just diminish the value of your company's brand by doing this. And they were selling high-end stuff. They wanted me to spend $150,000. And they're going to be that lazy? So what kind of work are they? If I bring them in, and I actually am stupid enough to sign a deal with someone that does that approach, what kind of work are they going to do for my company?
They're not.
They might do great work, but I'm not going to take a chance.
More than likely, you're just a number. If they're,
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Marty. I think it's taking a chance. But homework is the bare minimum. If you don't do this, don't even show up. To the next page, because this looks easy, but it's not. If you just do that, here's what you got to do. Because the easy work is going on our website. It's Googling, it's LinkedIn, it's Twitter, it's doing all that stuff, what's available in the public domain, and then hunting for customers. The hard work is right here. You should be spending 75% of your time, not on what I just talked about, trying to put yourself, the old word empathy, can you put yourself in their shoes? Try and figure out what their pain is. Try and figure out what's new. Trying to figure out what's working and what's not working for their business. That's where you got to spend your time. Even more importantly, who is it? The person, who's a human being that you're trying to get to, and put yourself in their shoes. Now, if you can flip down one more, the key is you think about the person, you analyze the person. You think about the business. The key is, what's your business? How does it all fit together? Do you have a present or a compelling story for why they should do business with you? What's the fit? What I say is you got to be able to communicate that fit between all the homework that you've done. You've got to be able to do it quickly and thoroughly. Now, why quickly? Because you might be dealing with someone.
Time, it goes back to time.
Now, some people are loosey-goosey with their time. I would tell you that I'm not. Now, I might not be the average person, but if you run into me and you can't get to your story quickly, you don't have a shot. Now, that's unfortunate, but it's reality. If you can't do it completely and accurately and quickly, if you run into the wrong person, you can have the best story in the world, do all your homework, you're not going to get through. Now, there's some people that can do it quick, but it's really not a compelling story. Either the product's not a good fit, which you might be able to change with marketing and product adjustments, but this is the stuff. It's the homework that I've seen people fall down on.
If you don't do your homework, how can you expect any business to use your services?
I don't know how you can. There's a lot of people out there, though. I would say, I don't know if I'm average in terms of as I see offers, but I would say 3/4 of the people, it's obvious they haven't done their homework. There's good news and bad news with that. Good news is it's easy, you want to look skinny, you hang out with large people. You guys can be very successful by doing the basics. You'll stand ahead. So that's the good news. There's a lot of people that don't do this, and this is relatively simple. The websites, the internet, the third party, the publicly available information is easy. The hard work is saying, all right, what does it all mean? How do I really try and understand this person that I'm going to follow? Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is all basic. There's nothing, I don't think I'm going to be able to tell you anything that's rocket science here. This is just stuff that's worked for me. Here's what not to do. We talked a little bit about the form letter. I call it the spaghetti cold calling. You see what method goes out there and see what sticks. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me at least. Go to the next. The comment that I use, if you're lazy on the front end, you're basically saying, Mr. Buyer, or Mr. Business, or Mr. Person, yeah, I'm lazy on the front end, but I won't be that way when you sign a check. It doesn't work. It just doesn't. I've never seen it work unless you're going to get lucky or you misjudge the person. So, all right. Here is the most important stuff. I would say 25% is sales techniques that drives success. 75% is probably yourself, which is why this group is so special in my mind. Dealing with adversity. We talked about the doors going to get shut in your face. And you don't have a strategy for that. It's going to be harder for you. You can still be successful, but it's going to be harder. So we talked about my little brand, and here's the formula in life that's worked for me. I believe in hustle. I believe in hard work. I believe in the optimism, which for me generates results. So this is my little formula, kind of like my sales breakdown. Those are non-negotiable for me. I don't make apologies for, in my business, where success is defined on pennies on the dollar for margin rates. I haven't found any other way. I grew up in this business. My father was a supermarket retailer. That's just what it is. It's kind of these are choices you make in life. Now, there's probably people that are better than me. That's why I said don't ever have me to a work-life balance, because I am not an expert in that. Optimism for me is important. The door's going to get shut in your face more times than it doesn't. You've got to have a strategy for staying up and dealing with adversity. You go to the next slide, or next point here. Here's the point. How do you deal with it? Whatever your formula is, because not everybody is like this. I hope not, at least. You got to have a plan to invest in yourself. Here's the plan, or the magic bullet for me. What is the plan to invest in yourself? We'll talk a little bit about that here. Our next slide here. First thing is, people. And that's what this group is about. The person that can probably change your life, you might not even be in your life right now. So the fact that you guys are here, you're supporting each other, that right there is built in. Your personal accountability coach is great. I mean, just the fact that you're together. I don't have to convince anybody. I'm important people. Social media is clearly not going away. I got to credit my wife, Kim, for getting me on it. Now here I am. I'm a chief marketing guy for a business that's growing light speed, and I wasn't on Twitter. I wasn't engaged. So everyone needs a kick in the hiney to figure out how to get on it. Now, when I get into something, I get into it. So I measure it. So every single day, I got a spreadsheet that's 400 lines long. What is it? It's my number of followers, my number of communications. I'm measuring it because I'm not going to do it just to waste my time. I'm going to try and get value out of it. So, the social media, information and learning. I believe everyone needs some type of branding strategy. So if branding starts with your pool of buyers for people interested in massage, whatever your service is, if branding creates that pool of good qualified buyers, and sales is just a matter of effectively closing the right ones, you should have a strategy for increasing the pool, for getting more likely buyers. What's your optimism strategy? If adversity is going to happen to you 8 or more times than not, you got to have a way to deal with it. You guys are dealing with it here. That's a great component. What are your other 2 or 3 components that really work for you? And then the thing that I call a learning lab, which I'll talk about here in a second. Okay. Personal assessment. Has anyone ever taken like a Myers-Briggs personality assessment? What about like a DISC profile? Has anyone heard of that? DISC.
DISC?
Yes. I've taken a lot of, here's the deal with a personality profile. It's know thyself. How are you wired? So I know pretty well how I'm wired. I've taken Myers-Briggs. The best management tool I've seen in business in 15 years is this right here. This is DISC profile. I've done some value out of Myers-Briggs. This thing is scary accurate. You go online, you take 30 questions, and a computer generates it out. No human being looks at it. And it spits out 50 pages of how you're wired, how you see the world. If you want to be communicated to accurately, here's what you do. If you want to annoy me, here's 3 pages on how to annoy me. And then it taps you on a wheel. Now, if you're in a business with employees, and you imagine if you have 10 people in your company, and they were all plotted on a wheel, and you know how their dominance is versus all these other characteristics. The person on this side of the wheel, all of a sudden, who they might have been having conflict with in the office or in the workplace, knows how to deal with the person over here. So I'm going to tell you that the people, I'm over here, I'm a high D, so you can read me. So it's aggressive. I need it quick. I value time, all that stuff. I got an ego. All those things, some of this stuff is negative, by the way. It's kind of hard to read. But you are who you are, right? But I had people over on this side of the wheel that are analytical and calm, need to be very detailed, and they were trying to communicate with me in long emails. And I was just shut down. I shut down. Once I spent a few $1,000 getting them all through, it's $150. It's $150 I ever spent to get this profile on myself and then to share all that information with everybody. Now, why is it important? Number one, if you're wired to figure out who is the person you're dealing with, and you can quickly adapt and flex your communication to that person, you're ahead of the game. If you can do it in the workplace, I would also recommend that. Yeah.
Could you tell the DISC what they stand for?
I sure can. Let me get this one close.
Their website for that.
There's a local, if I can recommend a local consultant,
Sure, yeah.
It's Voss Graham, he's here in Memphis. You Google Voss Graham, it'll be Interactive Consultants. This is $150, you'll get it on yourself. I think it's about 40 pages. I'm happy to share. If you guys want to email me, I'll send you mine. I'm an open book, and you can kind of see if that would have application. But it's to answer your question, Beverly, the D is dominance, I is influence, S is steadiness, and C is compliance. Kind of technical words, but you know, if you're a high D is 100%. I'm 98. That's demanding, egocentric, driving, ambitious, pioneering, strong-willed. The bottom end of D is unobtrusive, peaceful, modest, agreeable. So they're kind of 2 ends of the pendulum. Then it goes through the other components. That's kind of technical. You kind of think you got to be a psychological shrink. It gives you 50 pages and it translates it into real layman's terms. Okay. So I'd recommend that. Hopefully that's an interesting tip for you. Books still work. I thought about my top books I would recommend. Here's probably the best one. Anyone hear of it? Jeffrey Demmer?
I've got a program book.
What do you think?
I like it a lot. He's got a really good personality.
Yeah, he is. He talks real. He's raw.
Yeah.
But it's soundless. It's kind of like Twitter in a book.
Yeah.
You know, it's just soundless. This is an oldie but goodie. Harvey McKay, Swim with the Sharks. It's got a classic.
Oh, I've heard that.
There's one good one in there. We talk about relationships. People have to like you before they trust you. He's got a thing in there.
Oh, I can trust.
McKay 66, and then social media. Take a look at Crush It, Gary Vaynerchuk. Let's go to the next page. Learning Lab. What are you doing when you're exercising? If you're on a treadmill, you're taking a walk. This little thing called the iPad Shuffle. I download free podcasts every day, and I'm learning about small business marketing, just a lot of stuff. So while I'm walking, I'm killing 2 birds with one stone. Again, it's that time thing for me. I got to be doing something. Tom Peters. Go on the website, excellencenow.com. He's got 20 presentations. He's one of the biggest management gurus in our time. And he's got PowerPoint presentations he's giving away for free on leadership and selling, all kinds of stuff. All right, next page. Last page, last couple pages, I'll speed this up here. Dealing with adversity and kind of my optimism strategy. So I'm a Yankee fan. You go into my office, you see the Yankee. Sorry to hear that. I know. It's so here's my deal with adversity. The door shows us this. You know, for me, environment matters. You got to figure out what drives you, and you got to bring it into your workforce. So the Yankees drive me. My 2 kids, which are hard to see, they're in the office with me. Now they're not in every week, but I bring them into the work environment.
Sure.
Here it is. One of my clients. He's a motocross guy, motocross brand. He sent my kid a motocross outfit, which is kind of cool. So that kind of brings it in. Our daughter, we're blessed with hope. She has Down syndrome. I'm on the board of the Mid-South Down Syndrome Association. We've got my son and my daughter on the corn dog box of King Cotton. So we're bringing work into it. Now, not everyone has this opportunity, but it's kind of cool, and we bring them in. All right, next page. You know, for me, environment matters. And if you're a business of one, it's a little less relevant. But if you have a team of employees, you know, Marty, you probably have this in your office. To me, the environment that you're creating and the work atmosphere matters. So in our world, we call our first floor, the team that I run is the launch pad. We start things, we create new products, new services. We've got a team, you see adult beverages here. You see a giant whiteboard. We spend a lot of time figuring out what our environment is it conducive. We've got a bar, every office has to have a bar, and we've got a plan. I know. This might be a little extreme, but this is, yeah.
Or let's stay at work longer.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now you know where he is.
That's right. So here's probably the most important sales tip. I mean, it's amazing how many people they don't ask for the order, or they don't ask for anything. Another meeting, another referral. Can you give me advice? So that's probably the most basic. So that's all I have. You can flip to the next one. So my ask, you've got my business card out there. You can contact me. What I would ask you guys to do, if you have time, if you feel inclined, give me some feedback. One-line email. If you need help with anything, drop me a line. If you want my presentation, if you want my
I want your presentation.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Oh,
I don't know if
thank
there's time for questions, or if you want to do that at the end, or just.
Let's do that at the end. Sure. You do have the table in the back, so Mark and Kim will both be with us at the end. We have 20 minutes left, and I want to make sure that Callie gets his 15 today. So that's an inside joke. He said he's always cut short. But what we're going to do is Kim is going to give us a very brief synopsis of Rely Local, less than 5 minutes. But I want you to know that just because it's a brief synopsis doesn't mean that it's not excellent. It is excellent, and I want you to come back when you can give us a more in-depth overview. Okay. And we are in collaboration with Kim, who is Mark's wife, who is the local owner of Rely Local. Yeah. And one tip, she focuses on Bartlett, Carterville.
No, I focus on Carterville, Germantown, and Cordova. I can list other businesses in the Memphis area if they come to me. I can't solicitate.
So I'm referring all of you to Kim. So now you can go to her and she can do this for you. So if you could just show us very briefly. Okay, sure. Then we're going to take a break, get in a circle, and we're going to have our chat with Kim.
Okay, well, Rely Local is a local-based business directory. Rely Local was made up from the economy and the times that we're going through. It's a way to connect consumers with their local community, local stores, mom and pops. The whole thing is to give local businesses an affordable way to market their business. What Rely Local does is we help these local mom and pops. We list them on our website. We give them an avenue that they don't have other times. Like, they'll get a food business listing. If they don't have a website, they use that as their website. It gives them the SEO boost. They're found on the web. We're not guaranteeing that they'll be on Google front page, but it happens.
Right.
And they could do coupon marketing. They get a QR code. There's a spot to meet the leader, to connect the local consumers with the local business owner so that they can start to understand what this mom and pop is going through, especially with the times now. And in Germantown with all the construction, there are a lot of little stores out there that are just begging people to come in. Yeah. And they don't understand, like, that is a person, $20 to that person can pay their utility bill, or can help them run a website, or ship their product, or help. There's this one Hot Mama Maternity. She's actually now going to drop stuff off. So if you call her up and say, I saw that blouse on your website, she'll go deliver it to you.
Wow, that's amazing.
So to switch $20 locally to a mom and pop
and that's what I have. It's just all locally driven, all in one spot. I want to be a resource. If you spend something locally, 68% stays here, where 14 only stays with a local chain, and if you go online to Amazon, it's gone forever. Nothing gets put back into our community to help grow, pay taxes, and parks and schools. You can turn the page. I'll just show you what it looked like. That's my front page. I have 3 different areas where you can browse the local business owner's business page, coupons. I have job listings. I take local business owners and freelancers like Mary Kay's. So basically, if you own Chick-fil-A and that's a locally owned franchise, I can list you on my business. No big box stores, no Walmarts, no Best Buys, no Lowe's, Home Depot, nothing like that. Okay, I also have banner ads also. So here's kind of, I'm sorry it's a little blurry. Here's kind of what the business page looks like. I have pictures, videos, maps, downloadable brochures. Right here are the coupons. Over here, we also have a local rewards card where we're not keeping the profit. We're letting you keep the profit. You sell it for 20 bucks. You're making a profit to help you mark down your product. So I still have to pay a fee for these. So say I sell it to you for 10, you sell it for 20. That's $10 that you get. Say that you sell 200 cards. That's helping you mark down your product so that it stays in your budget, in your profit. I also have banner ads. Right here is where I was saying Meet the Leader. It just connects the local consumer with that business owner. Okay, now you can switch. I could do special pages I did for Marty's little
our
wedding
events seminar.
And that also shows up in the Google searches.
That's great.
You see right here with this Big Bite Donut in Cargillville, they had absolutely no web presence because they're listed on Rely Local. They're number 2 when you search donut shops in Cargillville.
That's great.
Go ahead. I also give them for $25 a month a QR code, so they can put it on their business cards. They can put it on their, the front of the store, so when the customers walk by, they can scan it. It goes right to their business page. They have everything right there. I also have a mobile app where the same thing. Everything shows up on the mobile app. So if you're listed on my website for $25 a month, it will be shown up on my mobile app. And what the best thing is, if you go anywhere around the country, because there's I think 150 of us out there that own, this is a franchise for me, you can go on the mobile app and search any local businesses across the country and not buy in a big box store if you're on vacation. You could also show the coupons. So I think it's a great benefit. There's lots for $25 a month that you get. Yeah, you could turn. Here's one of my, this is how I incorporate the social media. Not only do I have the website, but I have a web page dedicated to locally owned businesses where I take their products or their promotions or their sales and I put it out to all of my followers. And also through Twitter. Because as you can see, one person shares, they retweet, or they share, and it goes to a whole lot of local people.
And I've got to speak up real quick on that one. Kim did, she did a Twitter thing for me for the weddings and events thing, and there was 1,200 retweets.
Wow. Well, Andy Wise retweeted it. That was one of it. Andy Wise retweeted it, and he had a whole lot of followers. Yeah. So, and that was great because who's better to get the word out than him? Exactly. He's on TV, going after Sony. So he follows me.
So Kim, a brief synopsis. First of all, I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
Is there any way that we can get a copy of this?
Sure, I have more pages because then I also do social media.
I want you to talk
about Mark's company, and I don't know. I guess you didn't get my other presentation. Did it go? Did you miss some pages?
Can you send those to me?
Sure.
And I will email those out. Yeah, how many of you would like him to come back and give us maybe
Oh,
20, 30 minutes?
I know, I
The
got
5 minutes
a
just
little to
wouldn't
try to
do
get
it.
5 minutes.
You're fine. I'm sorry
No,
that
that's okay.
we ran short on time. So,
Okay.
Kelly can attest to this, can't you?
But I also do social media. So
Yes.
when I started this over a year and a half ago, I got rejection. He knows my first day I got kicked out of a place for just saying, hi, my name is, and they're like, if you're selling something, get out. So, and I wasn't used to that. I worked for Kraft. I sold for almost 12 years, and it's a lot easier selling a brand name than selling something that you're, that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
So I had like this one, I had the 4-4 for a year that I just focused on. One was Something Special Home Store in the Carryville Mall, and he sells furniture, home decor, everything. He had no web presence. Now he's on Google, you can find him. I do his Facebook for him. I do little ads for him through my Photoshop. What else? I do so much for him. I go in, I take pictures for him. I post them on his, I post them on mine. I try to get everybody in. And then I also
you do all this for how much?
Well, I do this, his Facebook page, he pays me separately.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But your package is
Yeah, I go
normally-
in, I take pictures, I post it, because I use those to make my own posts.
What's the number?
It's normally how much? $25
It's
a month?
$25 a month, $300 a year. They get a business page, 3 coupons, videos, and pictures, downloadable documents, a QR code. They're found on my mobile app. I also have banner ads that I have another opportunity, and then I also do social media. I do it for his company.
Yes.
For all 9 of his brands.
And you will be at the back table as well to take questions. And I would like to maybe meet with you all afterwards as well, because I have some ideas of how to get some more exposure for you here. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing that so quickly. I appreciate that. Good stuff, huh? All right. Everybody stand. If you will move your tables to the side, and let's form a circle here. Grab a cup of coffee and let's sit down and let's have a chat with Kelly. And he is the king of networking. I mean, we are among major players here that can help us with our business. Some people say, I don't want any help. Well, if you don't want any help, then you might as well go get buried. Because as long as we are living, we should be learning. I believe that. So everybody grab a snack and let's move the the tables over and form a circle.
This almost like Mr. Rogers' place, right?
We can move it back. We're not using this structure now. You asked for suggestions. Women in business was one that was brought to me. Just so you know, we might cover it next month if you want.
I got you. Okay, I get 5 minutes.
No.
No, this is good. This is
You
good.
get 10 minutes. I got 10 minutes. Yeah.
Man, that chair?
Kelly, introduce yourself and what you do. I mean, I know that you can tell us all about it, and you do so much.
Where to start? I'm Kelly Price, CEO of Network in Memphis, CEO of Product Marketing, president of the Home Based Business Chamber, working with Just My Memphis,
Networking in Atlanta.
networking in Atlanta, soon to be networking in Nashville, networking in Knoxville, and hopefully St. Louis by the beginning of the year. But I say all that to say this. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today was, if you guys have not heard or do not listen to business for, our stimulus money. That's become a big subject of the debate and discussion. Where did all the stimulus money go? Where did we get it at? How much did we get? Well, we got 600, and just in Memphis alone, $680 million of stimulus money came to Memphis. But does anybody know how many jobs it created?
I don't know.
Well, if you could tell me, you could probably tell leadership as well. But one of the things I want to talk about was how important was that money to small companies like us? Because that was the idea of that to spur entrepreneurship. Each one of your business could have used a little bit of lift from that. And talking,
I have got to already start commenting here. One of my aunts, when all this was going down, said, you know, what they should have done was instead of giving it to the banks, given everybody $1 million, they had to specifically spend it on certain things, but that would have revitalized our economy more than giving it to the banks.
We had the same conversation as that.
yes, that would have been better. That money would have went directly and used community for businesses like us.
Buying cars, buying homes.
Staying alive.
Yeah.
Not losing your house.
There you go. But I say that to say this, you know, companies like ours, small companies, even your relative is still a small company or medium-sized company, could have used all of that money. And talking with a bank 2 days ago about ideas on how do we reach smaller companies, how do we get you to get into they're trying to keep they're a local bank, well, semi-state bank. They want to keep the big guys like Bank of America out, or, you know, out of our market from their home. And they asked me, and I said, well, the thing is, let's get people qualified. He said, well, Kelly, we give people money, but people have to get qualified. And one of the things is, how do you get qualified? That's part of the problem. Entrepreneurs don't know, I need a certain credit score. I need to have a business plan. How am I going to pay the money back? Those are the big answers that the banks want to know. So I think discussing like business over coffee and what we're doing now, no, our numbers are not, we're not in the thousands. But thousands never change anything. It's always just been a small percentage to change stuff. But what I encourage entrepreneurs to do is demand from our leadership. Demand from our leadership to help spark business. Government doesn't. They don't create business. I'll never think the government should create business. No, I don't want them in my business. But they do create an environment so that we can have business. The tax breaks that you give to Electrolux, or you give it to FedEx, if anybody knows FedEx inside. All these companies get tax breaks. Well, where's the tax breaks for the young entrepreneurs? Right, for young professionals. We have to start building this. But it takes us to voice our opinion, because if we don't speak up to our local leadership, and I want this to be a political standpoint, but this goes directly, this is how business and government marries together. If we don't demand of them to give us the same opportunity that you give companies like Electrolux comes here, because there's tons of vacant buildings downtown. Why don't you renovate those buildings, sublease them to young entrepreneurs? Let's start an entrepreneurship. You're not doing anything with them anymore. They're abandoned buildings for homeless people that you threw out of shelters. And then now you make them pay $1 to go back to another shelter. But that's here or there. But start creating this a city. If this is truly a city of choice, live up to that word. I'm so tired of hearing, and you guys see my tweets this morning, I kind of woke up this morning with that on my mind. I'm so tired of politicians with their rhetoric and, we're all just for the people. We're the city of choice. If I hear that I swear to God, if I hear that one more time, I'm going to choke somebody. Right, yeah, I'm going to throw it in my mouth. And then with the young kids, I'm going to throw it in my mouth. But yes, but if we don't express our concerns to them and let our voices be heard, it never changes. Because like I said, the city, the county, they have all these great taglines, right? But the money never reaches us. I don't know where it gets to. I never see it. I don't know where, and I try to follow the money trail, but it just doesn't seem to get to you or I didn't get any of it. I don't know about anybody else. And I don't know anyone that got any of it. and I don't even know where it levels out. So anyone got to it. You know, I don't know how many of you guys been trying to get a loan from the bank lately, but it's not like it's easing up. But I think if we put pressure like groups like this, I'm encouraging people to call your congressman, well, even the local leadership. Those are the people that I'm really fierce with, because those are the people that should be looking out for my best interest. I'm a taxpayer. I pay taxes. Each one of us is paying business tax. If we're paying taxes, you're supposed to be working for us in our best interest.
When you say local leaders, are you talking about the mayors?
Yes.
Shelby County, Memphis?
Yes.
The mayors are aldermen.
Yeah, all of them.
The aldermen are great. They go to bat even more so than the mayors. I've seen that out in Pikeville.
Yeah, and the county commissioners. Instead of fighting about schools, to me, I don't know how anybody feels about it. I'm not interjecting, but I don't really care. At this point, I don't care if you merge a school, you don't merge a school. Do what you got to do. Just don't raise my taxes. Just like Memphis, you know, and all this ties back into business. When you talk about now you want to, the tax is already 9.2, now you or 2.5, now you want to make it 9.5. Well, that affects everybody in this room.
Yeah.
So you can balance the budget. No, if you balance the budget, you need to look at why would I give you more money if you can't spend the money that you got already correctly? That's to me. If you can't do that in your business, right? You can't do that.
Yeah, because we can't go out and do the same.
No.
So I mean, it's like the rich get richer, and the poor get poorer.
Well, the government just gets stupider and stupider.
But that too. That too.
Dumb and dumber.
Right, so, as business owners,
from them.
we have to start understanding that we have power in our community, and I don't think that we're leveraging that because if you look at the city. There's city meetings. If you go online and watch it, what's the Sunshine Law? You can watch them online. I mean, that's a debacle. And you look on the county commission, it's even worse. When you look at these meetings, no one's talking about business. Not us. Not our interest. Because I mean, yes, I am interested in schools. I'm interested in roads, and I am. But the most important part, I want to make our city a city that people want to come here and spend money. Because the more people that we bring to our city or attract to our city, we'll spend money.
You want to be on city council with my husband, who should be
Yeah.
Go like Kentucky and Cincinnati. You know, are you familiar with well, Kentucky was run down. They have beautiful waterfronts, and then they brought in, what was the name of that little area?
Newport on the Levee.
Newport on the Levee.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous now. It's where everybody goes from Cincinnati to go out to dinner, to go to the movies, to go shopping, and they're right there on the Mississippi River.
See, and
that could be downtown Memphis.
Right, or even like here in Collier or Germantown. Revitalize Germantown. See, as business owners, we have an vested interest in our government, but we don't speak up about it. Our voice is not heard. I remember when Mayor Luttrell first took over, he formed this small business council thing or whatever. Yes, and I don't even know what happened to that. Here we are now 2 years in, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't see business got any better.
Okay,
Small children.
so to get the ball rolling, because somebody has to take the first step, how about if you and I get an appointment with Mayor Luttrell, because he is an honorary member of the Zone of Coffee, and then you have major connections with him as well. Let's go there and talk.
Yes, because I've already started drafting the emails. Last night, if you guys don't know, I was on the way back from St. Louis. So I was just, I had, you know, when I'm in the car, my granddaughters were asleep, I'm just sitting there thinking, wow, I really got an attitude now. And then I'm listening to, I'm listening to the political channels, and I'm listening to all these different, this is exactly what's happening in Memphis. Because when you look at our city of Memphis, we are a microcosm of the rest of the country. They talk about Iowa and Pennsylvania being those states where people, whatever, they dictate the movement of the country. But when you look at Memphis, we have that same, we have some of the bigger issues that happens, but it happens right here in our city. But we, as business owners, have a responsibility for government.
Well,
is there any kind of group or anything that for business people to meet for this particular issue?
Well, we've got chat with Kelly every clipping
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
I thought about that last night. But I don't know how we do it. We have to figure out, first of all, we have to figure out an agenda, what we want. We have to understand what we want. Right. And what we want, we figure out an agenda, what the things that we want, and these are the people, and we send our letters and emails. That is so powerful. When 300 people show up at a council meeting, oh my God, they just, now they're scared at this point. And they're only there to talk about a dog. I don't want to drag this out. I'm not going to drag this out. But, you know, Mayor Warden said something to me a couple of years back. He said if I had a kid that needed to be picked up from juvenile court at 2 o'clock in the morning and just needed a place to stay until the morning time, you couldn't get 10 people to come to the courthouse and pick the kid up. But if there was a dog,
please don't go there.
There will be a ton of people lined up to take this dog in. And which
is very disturbing.
That is very right. It is
very disturbing. And I have neither one, dog or kids.
Yeah, I got both. I'm telling you. Dogs lose at that time, but that's the disturbing part, and that's the part that, as a society, how can we rest at night knowing that's our feeling? And we are the leadership. Business owners are leaders. I don't care if you sell Mary Kay or if you sell popcorn or a hot dog stand. You're a leader in your community. And that's important. And I think we've gotten away from that. That you're the corner store. Where I'm from in Tompkins County, Georgia. The corner store, you know, before you got booed out by Piggly Wiggly.
My family has a corner store, grocery store out in the county.
Right.
Well, I like this. 15 minutes is up. But I definitely want us to pursue this, and you and I are going to be meeting soon anyway, the next couple of days, and how many of you feel like having this conversation?
I like it.
Good. Okay, so Kelly's going to be here for a few minutes if you want to talk with him one-on-one as well. Kim and Mark will be at the back table for you to talk with them, and all of you network. And what are we doing? 3 words: bringing everyone together. Last night as I was sleeping, I said that's BET. Bet on us. All right. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
She didn't touch me.
We're doing
meetings that's coming to 30 years, you know, it's like, you know, this is some things that you may need to know for, and, you know, because a lot of people don't want to just leave they just don't want to deal with it. I mean, this young lady that's coming from my brain, she's like, you just have no problem, but I can just, you know what I mean? I can be like, it's like, well, you know, I can just talk about this right now. Because I know where I know how to where I want to ship it to. I need somebody that can get it ship. You know, you have an idea, somebody else has to pull it together, and that's where we are right now. But my goal is to really want to get on this weekend, you know, to somebody that can get it. You know, you know, so that's actually where I want to go. I'm not going to give up on it. I can take for it too. You know, I'm not making money. I said, you know what? This shit needs to change. I upgraded the HR part. It needs to shift budget. And that's how you know, so what are you guys trying to do with them? You have discussions about benefits and yep, we're trying to do it. Right. We're just trying to do it. Show them. Great benefits you guys. We're not trying to take your health benefits. We're not trying to come in and however, a wiser employer would talk about a wiser HR person. That makes us look good because okay, now we got the plan in place. Not just saying I'm about to bring it to you know, are they taking safe? You know, so I get it from a different perspective because I could have been around it so long and then just, you know, trying to be out on my own and then just get to the downside and all that kind of stuff. Like, if you guys think you're ready to get up, like, if you had a call me, if I had been an HR person, it's like, my first time was like, you know, tell me more about what you do. I'm trying to go to the hospital. You're not trying to come in and change something. What is the thing you might do? I'm ways. It's like, and this is what you talk about. It's like, see, if you're thinking like that, it's like 45 minutes, 25 minutes. You do it in 45 minutes. There's a lot of gatekeepers you gotta get through. And it's past the receptionist, it's past HR rep, it's past the HR manager. If you get to the director, you're lucky. You're lucky enough you need to get that off because the HR manager, kind of being that person for this director, won't even let you get next to the offer. You know, if you're lucky to be maybe director of the network community, but there's a lot of gatekeepers trying to get to HR. There really is. It always has. It probably always will be, but that's the problem. They should have snapped it up. That makes me look good as an HR. That makes my company look good because I was thinking about the employees who make up the company. He wasn't connected. Yeah, he wasn't connected. And that is the thing about HR got ego. HR got gatekeepers. And HR's like, they're thinking about, you know, they think about the bottom line. You know, it's about the bottom line. So they look at everything and then get those qualifications. And that's the edge. That's unfortunate of HR, but that's it. HR is a gatekeeper. You know, and it's hard to get to that. But when you get one, it's only going to take one. It's only going to take one, the right one. That's going to say, you know, because they. So what if they have a hidden agenda? I want you to have a hidden agenda. I want you to know that that's a good thing. So good you come in the other person. Did that for us. You know what I mean? You're going to get to that one end.
So what you
Yeah. What are some of the common things? The manufacturing warehouse is a physical needs, manufacturing environment, and I've done tip contracts. I've been shipping I've done it at Czech Republic, and I don't even know how to buy about I didn't like the job director. Just do what I'm here to do. But I don't know if you see still there, but I did not put that director. But I'm just infected with myself. I got to get my feet back to my family. So I have to contract with myself. But that environment, yeah, the big market, very tough. Well, I've got to be in business.
Yeah.
That's the industry. Some people that would even be more difficult. I read the other day they have 46% more businesses in Nashville than we do. So yeah, I just read that and I guess the business they were on the online stuff or something. And then right now, the largest city in Tennessee, and that's the headline. The largest city in Tennessee, but Nashville has 46% more businesses.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a different vibe when you go to Nashville. Okay, just grabbing into the city is a different vibe. I like Nashville. I'm so you know, but I like Nashville. But what is you know, so you know, I think maybe not in Nashville. My sister can try to get it. You know, you have to be you can't that's a tough one to crack. Airbnb crack, just may take a little time. And yeah, that yeah. I love my industry, and then I like hate my industry. It's like, what are y'all doing?
And that's, you know, he was just like,
okay,
you'll provide. So how do you push this? I don't want to say.
That's what I said. That's where the ego. That's where the ego gets in the way somewhere. You coming in and take my job? I work my shoe making my job. Why would I want your job? I already have one. You know, but that's where the ego comes in. You come in here. You say, "Welcome to ABC Company." Okay, we're gonna do it right now. You show them a video of the company. This, I'm telling you how to go. This is the company, and we'll just we'll give you a tour of the building, and we have make sure you go to your and that's how orientation usually is. Okay. I've been seeing you all over the world. Hawaii is.
Take care.
Just have no, that's But now, yeah, I would ask everybody that. I'm asking more of
Oh, you're welcome. I mean,
much better than last time.
That's okay. Sure. Yeah. I want to know you better. Well, next, next application time. Not next one. Maybe the following. Okay. I would like to sit down with both of you. Maybe over coffee or something like that. Or dinner, maybe that would be better. Yeah. Bring my husband. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Kids and kids station. Oh, that'd be great. So maybe we can. My contact. Yeah. Can you email me your phone number? Okay. Yeah. I do have, I can just email you. Yeah. Oh, it's so good to see you. I don't have to know anymore. My contact, but you can't phone with that. And I did a backup on the computer too. Exactly. Yeah. If you have, call that 800 number. That's other line.
Yeah, I know the kind of person you have.
Yes, and I have you in mind to maybe do if you wanted to do that. And so basically, yes, so basically, looking at how we could partner together in some way to do that, where it's a win-win for both of us. Okay, so let's.
Good idea.
If you like the idea,
I love social media.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we'll get you on the same date. Okay, thank you so much. And you got an honorary membership. Yes, because you came and spoke and everything and took your time. So I'd like you to go on and sign up for the free online, but I'll make you a professional member.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll do that for him. Okay, yeah. Kill. All right. Bye. Bye. So what do you think of the event today?
Good, I like it. You know, I like the kids. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I got an email from a lady said she was not your child or child.
I want to meet with you, just to talk with you. I mean, I'm trying to see, a one-on-one, a coffee or something, whatever. Okay. Give me your card. I knew you got my personal card. See, I probably got cards about how you go.
Yeah, I get all
Well, give me your card now. I'll contact you. You gotta keep
other folks in one pocket, yours in
and
another.
you know what? I have a business card holder for other people that are on mine.
Good blood spares.
That's not. Thank you.
No, that's not keeping the water.
Maybe I'll look up kids in both sides.
I actually was thinking about buying one.
I gotta do that again.
Love you. Oh, so glad to see you. And tell her I'm missing her. She came to one event.
Listen, Marva has been the interim director of Dress Success. She's the director over her own nonprofit, and she's working on her line. I don't even know how Marva's brain is intact at this point. But they actually about to pick the new ED, so that will be relieved from her soon. We're gonna hate the business. We're gonna hate to have to let Marva walk. Well, I said, but I know where you are now, so get away from me. You're not this week. Yeah, they started interviewing last week. They had like 4 or 5 candidates or whatever. So I think they're on the. To my knowledge, they only had like 4 candidates.
I don't have my contacts anymore. I need everybody's card.
Okay.
I've got them, somewhere, but I need them on my phone because my other phone went out on me. And I could not transfer my contacts. And that was awful. So I've got like 700 contacts.
Did you guys know?
Yes. We are in Lake Cormorant, Mississippi. Really? Oh, okay. Like the bedroom house.
That was good.
Well, we had to bring our daughter in with us. So she's not doing well. Sarah.
So she's in the hospital?
She's 65 now. 24 years old. Oh, no. Yeah, and she's really and anyway, she gets a room in the living room. I mean, it really was amazing how it worked out that we were able to do this. So really, we have 3 bedrooms upstairs in the game room, and she gets the other part of her special area, which works out.
Well, my preference is because that's Richard. I mean, I know she's your good, but that's Richard.
It's Richard. Oh my God.
Of course. Man. My prayers are with you. Let me know if anything changes. All right.
So anyway, we're now. We're on 301 and
You're way out there.
Yeah. We're right on the lake though.
Big house, lake.
Oh,
Good now.
We are in. Well, I'm so glad to see you. I saw that you had the E-line attendant.
Yeah, I finally have to slow down a little bit. I took vacation 2 weeks ago.
You know, not for a long Chicago. I'm not really a lot for social
Really?
media. I mean, I think you should help.
We saw all over.
The president said that thing the other day or last week, whatever.
Yeah.
Someone helped
We
you.
live in our family.
I know, I kind of took it another way than most people took it. I took it as towards, you know,
with her family.
saying that, yeah, you know, you have yourself, someone maybe will help and give. You know, every company's had that. There's very few companies in this country that started with nothing and just built it themselves. Someone with a bank gave them a hand, they got mentorship. So whatever the case may be, you know, in that sense, I think he's right. The government don't have a lot of time, so they shouldn't. I don't think they should.
Well, I'm the other one,
But I
like, you
think
know
they
how
should
those
help
kids
for
do
it.
when they're down.
So we can reach out.
I've lived in there once my whole life now.
Question mark, question mark. Oh, yes.
Live.
Glendale.
Kind of far out. I'm trying to think what road Wrigley is on. Everywhere field is on. No, well, they're kind of a little bit further out, but it was one of those main roads.
Oh, yeah, you either got it or you don't.
And there's not a whole lot in between.
You either got it, John. And that's what I'm saying. You know, this is a.
I don't remember the roads.
In this country, lately,
But yeah, it was nice.
you either got it or you ain't got it.
Stay downtown.
You're either gonna pay your bill or you ain't gonna pay.
Oh, yeah.
That's a sad situation. Either or. It ain't like it's going both ways.
Hey,
Oh, you missed.
I think that's kind of sad. I don't know.
Beverly?
I don't know how you
Good
fix
to
it,
see you.
but
And Gary.
you can't be taxed.
I enjoy it.
well, that's right.
Yes, I'm cheering.
You make a good money.
Yes, it's nice meeting you.
Y'all take care.
What can I do?
See you guys.
I can see you too.
Yes.
Y'all take care.
Call.
Alright.
You had to take care of business,
I
Sion.
can promise tomorrow, but not Monday.
Alright.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
But yeah, it's.
Yeah.
We got some.
Virginia, up here, yes, with Richmond Business.
Yeah.
To do, absolutely, absolutely. So let me, I'll tell you what, let me turn the virtual off, which we just finished, and then we'll meet and see where we are, and then we'll ask questions. All right, Jonathan. And while I'm doing that,
It's time for us to move forward.
okay, we're out.
You can't.
But I'm going to
You can't raise relationships. We can't hold stuff. We'll never hold past it. You stay in the first place, and you never bring it home. So, okay, yeah, let's
We
look at
going
it.
out to visit that girl and guy?
Can't go over there. I said, we don't have it.
Mommy.